Welcome back. Just wanted to introduce my next project. I just acquired this fan today, and I had to drive 3 hours to pick it up, but it was worth it. No, I was only half an hour away, but I had to drive through Boston, so yeah, 3 hours. Love it. Anyway, this is a 1923 General Electric loop handle Aou fan. Now these are fairly common amongst fan collectors and hobbyists alike. The loop handle fans were basically GE's mainstay workhorse product throughout the 1920s and early into the 1930s. These fans gave way to more popular models as technology and designs changed. You could call this the grandfather to the Vortelex. These fans were very popular and very common. You can still find them very easily. I do a quick search on eBay and I guarantee you'll come up with a few hits, which is exactly where I found this one. So I'll tell you why I bought it. So it was actually one of you very viewers, your fault. One of you did this to me. I made a video. I think it was the 1949 Vortelex. I have been doing a lot of fan repairs. It's the end of the summer season. We're getting into fall and winter, and I'm taking all the fans in the house, and we have a few, more than I remember. I don't know how I got so many of them. We use them daily. So I decided to do some regular routine maintenance, and one of them needed a complete restoration, but that's another video. But one of my viewers commented that I should try to find a GE brass-bladed fan, or just a brass-bladed fan. And I got to thinking, and I'm like, you know, you're right. I should get one while I can, because the prices on these are going up. So I did a quick eBay search, not thinking I'd find anything, and this son of a bitch popped up. Now, I wasn't going to buy it, but it was within driving distance. So I was buy it now, $100. And I'm telling you what I paid for it because I feel that it is important to say this. What an antique is worth, or what an object of any kind is worth, is not what the seller says it's worth, it's what the buyer's willing to pay. I was willing to pay $100 for this fan. Bottom line, I wouldn't have paid a penny more. At $100, needing a complete restoration, I think I may have paid a little much, but I don't care because it's exactly what I was looking for. Now, little did this viewer know, but I actually did own and restored a 1919 GE Aou fan, brass bladed, and it came out so good. I was so proud of the work I put into this fan that I sold it because I needed money. I needed a quick amount of... I think it was because I had to fix the fucking Murano at the... to think of it. This was back when I had the Nissan Murano, and I needed to repair something on it, and I didn't have the money in hand at the time, and I was, you know, just a young person trying to make it in the world, and I needed the cash. So I took this fan that I had restored with my loving care and hard-working hands, and I got $600. Went to I think a doctor's office in New York City bought it. So if you have a doctor in New York City and there is a hunter green brass-bladed GE fan in his or her office, I restored it. Just so you know. You're welcome. So anyway, I kind of knew what I was looking for, and this one checked off all the boxes. I wanted one that wasn't a previous restoration. Really don't want to inherit somebody else's problems. I wanted one that was complete without a salad bowl of screws randomly placed. This one is missing one original screw, and I know I can get one, and that is the original cage screw for here. As long as the threads aren't ruined, and I don't think they are. No, they look like I can tap them. Yeah, I can tap that. I should be able to get an original brass screw. That's trash. It's not even the right thread. Everything else is, I looked it over. Everything else is there. The wiring is garbage. I'm not even plugging this in, not even to show you guys, because look at this. And what's scary is the seller said it worked. And in the photos, you can clearly see the fan blade spinning. He did say it worked on all 3 speeds. But I hope he didn't touch the base, because, oh my God. Bare Wire City. So this particular fan is a 1923, and I'm going to go through why I know that. Now, I don't want to go through the history of the Aou fan, because there's a lot of things to know about these, a lot of different nuanced things with this model of fan. So, models that were made during World War I may not have brass blades. In fact, I don't think they do, unless they were replaced. Because during World War I, they were conserving brass for the war effort. Brass is used in ammunition, and they didn't need it to make fan blades because there were other options. So if you have one of these fans and you stick a magnet, this is magnetic by the way, you stick a magnet to the blades and they stick, you have a steel-bladed fan. Now, throughout the life of the Aou fan, they made the blades first out of brass, solid brass. At some point, I believe they went to plated brass, so it was a steel blade plated in brass. And those are pretty obvious because by now, if they haven't been kept up, there will be some rust forming on those blades. At one point, later on in production, I think after 1930, they went to aluminum. But in the golden years, before and after World War I, they made them out of solid brass. So the blades themselves are worth quite a bit in scrap metal. Being solid brass, they are worth something. Now these blades are in pretty good shape. They're not bent to hell. They're not crushed or mangled. I can work with this. 1923, they had this particular shaped oscillator. It's not bell-shaped. It's this shaped. And it's made of solid brass. See? All brass all the time. They had... Now, this is something that I find interesting. When doing some research and looking at other posts by other fan collectors, they went from 3 to 2 wire head units, coils, and so they had anywhere from 2 to 4 wire coils on these fans. So this particular one is a 2 wire, which means that there's going to be a speed coil in the base. If you have one with 4 wires or 3 wires, there won't be a speed coil in there. Now, back in 2009-ish, I had owned... Did I mention this? And I've done like 5 takes of this video so far, so I don't know whether I mentioned it or not anymore. I can't keep track of my own thoughts. I had a 12-inch cast iron base, 1919 Aou. And mine was also brass bladed. It was post-World War I. So probably when they had just started bringing brass back into the production line. So mine had, I swear to God, it was a 3-wire coil. Might have been a 4. Because there wasn't a speed coil and it was a 3-speed fan. So on a 3-speed, you're going to have a common high, medium, and low. So it should have been a 4-wire. And what I did, back in 2008, 2009, you couldn't buy reproduction cloth wiring like I have now. It just didn't exist. So you had to use whatever you could get. Now, what you could buy was twisted pair wire, cloth twisted pair. So I was able to use that. And I actually learned, I taught myself how to braid. And I braided 3 wires. I swear it was 3 wires. Might have been 4. Anyway, I was able to braid the wires into a nice braided cable. It looked great. It really did. But ultimately, not what this is going to look like. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. Since this is a non-restored fan, it is untouched. A couple of things that I wanted to look at. Number one, what was the original color? So this is a dark, dark hunter green. This is what GE used to use on these fans back in the day. Almost all of these were hunter green. Very few of them were black. A lot of people mistakenly paint these black because it looks like black paint. It really does. But if you look very closely in the right light, it is just a super dark green. So wanted to point that out. The motor casing, I believe, is cast iron. Yep, it's got a cast iron motor casing. Gearbox is cast iron, so there's no pot metal here. This is the real freaking deal. It's got a primer on there, and then you can see that there's... Nope, that's not primer. Okay, somebody painted over this, or tried to, and did a shitty job. All the hardware is brass. All the screws are brass. One of the questions that I had, and I couldn't get an answer on this, is whether or not the head badges were painted from the factory. Another little tidbit, in 1925, 24 or 25, I think it was, depending on the form number. Now, okay, I should bring this up. If you want to know how old the fan is, you need the form number. That's this number right here. This is an AC1, which narrows it down to 23. Now, you can get the information on these fans from the American Fan Collectors Association, AFCA. And if you do a Google search for GE AOU form numbers, you can actually get... Someone created a directory of every form number range that GE used, and it helps you narrow down when the fan was produced. And it also, there's some little notes that says, okay, this is the first year of aluminum blades, or this is the year they changed it from the dimpled badge, like this, to a smooth badge. So, with all of what I could find, and the solid brass blades, and the fully cast iron base, this is a 23. Hold on. So we're looking at the AFCA forum post right here. This is posted by a gentleman named Don Tenner. So this is a very valuable piece of information. So this goes all the way back to 1896. So GE's been using form numbers on and off up until about 1930. So 1930 to 31, that's Form AK, that has aluminum blades. In 1925 to 26, they went to a stamped motor with a cast base and a solid handle. So that's Form AE. In 1920, AE to AE1, they went from cast iron to a stamped motor, stamped steel. So you can actually kind of see where GE started really saving costs in their fan production line. Cast iron motors cost more to make than stamped steel, and they're heavier. The bases, when did those go to stamped? I want to say that was early 30s. 1927, so Form AF, smooth badge, stamped base, switch mounts to base plate. So, this is cast iron. What did I say this was? It was an AC, which is a 1923. So this tells you pretty much... So they ended the use of form numbers in 1940. So that's good to know. One example of that is my GE Vortilex. Actually, neither Vortilex has a form number anywhere on it. So that tells you what that's all about. So got a lot of brass here to polish. I'm going to polish the brass. We're going to order some paint. I'm going to go with Krylon makes... All right, so I really started loving lacquer paint when I did the Robbins and Myers. That's when I really realized that lacquer is the way to go for these, because lacquer is a durable paint, it holds a shine, and it can be easily buffed. So we're going to go with a green, hunter green lacquer paint. Now, Rust-Oleum does not make a hunter green lacquer. They make plenty of enamels. But what I found is that Krylon makes a product called Acrylifusion? Acryliquick. And it is an acrylic lacquer paint. So they make a hunter green acrylic lacquer. We're going to try that. We're not going to get the color correct. This is, by the way, this is what this paint looks like after about 100 years. This fan is 98 years old. This is what it looks like after 98 years. It is not the original color. This green was actually a shade or two lighter. Oh, Oreo wants some attention. We gotta take care of the Oreo. All right, let's give him some love. He likes to be the star of the show. Or he just, I got the flashlight in his face. There we go, buddy. There you go. You feel good? Look at you. Oh, sorry, you're not enjoying this, are you? Anyway. Aw, little buddy. I don't think he likes the smell of my hands. They smell like grease and Boston. Which is the same thing, really. It's the same smell. Grease and Boston. Rubbing the camera with his face. Yeah, buddy. Anyway. Can I make my video now? Alright. So, what were we talking about, Oreo? Do you remember? Were you listening? So I forgot my tripod. So what I want to do in this video is we're not going to do any restoration work. We're just going to do some exploratory surgery, alright? What I want to do is I want to pull the back cover, the bottom cover off. Let's see how she looks in the wiring section. Because looks like we're missing one screw, but these are not a big deal to replace. They're really not. So obviously we're missing felt. So here, all hardware goes in there. We're missing one screw, and we're missing all the felt that belongs on this. So we don't know what the original felt color was, but we can get a good look inside, see what we got here. So it looks like somebody tried a legitimately good wiring job with these crimp-ons, but I would never use these. Switch plate. Now I believe these are made from asbestos. Just another fun fact. Are we missing any hardware? Looks like we might be missing a square nut and a screw. I'm gonna pull that. I know, right? I'm gonna pull that off. The good thing is, because the AOUs are such a common fan, and they're very popular with collectors, they're relatively easy to get parts for. Certain parts can be found, just like the Vortelexes. And it's when you start getting into weird fans like the Delco that I restored, those not so much. Those are not as easy to find, you know, replacement parts for, because they weren't really well made to begin with, and not a lot of them ended up being collector's items. So I'm going to take this base plate off and see what we got going on here. Save all this brass hardware because it's pretty much priceless at this point. Okay. So yeah, we got a 2-wire head wire. And this switch plate is very similar to the one that was in my loop handle, 1919 loop handle. So we're gonna mark off where power goes in. I'm gonna just put just a mark here so I know. Oh yeah, that's gonna work real well. What can I use? Oh, I know. I could use, this is wax. Maybe I can color, no, that's not gonna happen. Maybe I'll scratch it. There we go. Note to self, that's what those scratches mean. So we'll just take the switch plate off. Okay, so I don't think I'm missing anything. I thought I might have been missing a mount for something, but no, that's not the case. But wiring this fan is going to be easy. I like the speed coil fans because, again, the head wire, you just use the same wire that you use for the plug to the wall. That's all you got to use. It's nothing fancy, nothing extravagant. You don't have to order a separate foot or two of, 3-wire, whatever. It's real simple. I'm going to take this off. So yeah, we're not going to dig deep in this guy, but I do want to get a few curiosities out of the way before I have to turn in for the night. So I know. I'll get to you in a minute, bud. You're getting really, really annoyed with me. Come on over here. Come on over here. I'll be there in a minute. Let's take this off. So, what are my plans? Okay, let's get onto that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to replace all the wiring, and I decided instead of going with the original wiring, which is olive green, by the way, on these, olive green is the original wiring color, and it was not individual strand. It was like a twisted pair. It was cloth covered. So we're going to go with that. Look at this. Nice try, guys. But look at how I cannot believe he plugged this thing in. I mean, look at this shit. That's bewildering. But look at the cable they used. This must have come off like an angle grinder or something. It's rated for, what is this? 16? Oh, it's 16 gauge. I was going to say it was like 14 or so. 16.3. Well, it's 16 trash now. I could plug this in and we can see what it sounds like, but I'm really not loving that wiring, so I'm going to just pretend that it's not there. I'm sorry. My child needs all the attention he can get because he is really crying at me and whining, and he just wants love and attention and affection. So, I mean, do you blame the guy? I mean, I don't. What did you buy? Oh my God. What did you do now? That's what he's thinking. What did you buy now? Don't you have enough fans? Oh, you sound like Amelia. Anyway, he just needs attention. I've been home all day, so he's like, "Where's my daddy? I want my daddy." So as I was saying, the paint we're going to use is a Krylon lacquer. I ordered 2 cans. Oh, he wants down now. I ordered 2 cans from a supplier. I can't get it locally, so I had to buy it online. That's fine. I can do that. And let me put these. I like to put stuff kind of back together where I found it, just because it might be harder later on. So this is our common, and then this is our switched. And the other lug should be on here. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Again, wiring on a fan like this is pretty simple. What's nice is I don't have to strip a lot of paint off because there isn't any. I mean, that's a win right there. All right. I want to take the fan shroud off, and we'll just kind of put that aside. So I can move this thing around a little easier. A commenter, or viewer, I should call you guys viewers, not just commenters, but a viewer made a statement. Look at that. It's easy to remove. Yeah, this thing is, these struts are easy to get out of alignment. So the nice thing about them is they are movable and removable, so they're easier to work on. Okay. So one of my viewers made a statement, you know, what good is this shroud if you can stick your whole hand in it? Hell, you can probably stick your whole head in the damn thing. Well, the point of this shroud is not to protect you, it's to protect the blades. Duh. No, really, it's a weird concept in today's world, in 2022, 21, whatever year it is. It's a pretty interesting concept for people to grasp. Oh yeah, a couple of things. One of the first things I did before I even picked it up was I checked the front bearing for play. Gently lift the blade hub up and down with the blade on tight. Lift it up and down. If you feel play, don't buy it. It's junk. This motor is tighter than a drum. This is a good motor. Nice. No play. Spins freely. I'm like, sold. But, yeah. Home appliances were not designed with safety in mind. In fact, not at all. It wasn't even on their minds back then. Because who's going to stick their blades in a freaking fan? But nowadays, our litigious society that we're in, everything needs warning labels and safety guards. Let me show you something. See this drill press? Now, this is designed to thwart hippies. If your hair is down to your ass and you're over here drilling holes in a piece of wood or metal and there's a fan blowing with no guard on it behind you, it's going to blow your hair probably around, and then it's going to get stuck in the belt and you're going to be scalped. So yeah, that's the kind of see, this is just to keep you from hitting this with your hand. But people back in the 1930s when this was made, they didn't have hair down to their ass. They kept their hair pretty close cropped in accordance to the norms of the society, so having their hair caught in the drill press was not a concern. Who does that? You know, I mean, like, is Rapunzel going to come over here to drill some holes? I don't think so. So they weren't thinking, and besides, to cover this whole thing in metal would cost more money. Who wants to pay more, right? So they weren't thinking like they do now, where every damn thing ever made has to be made in a way that doesn't kill people. Except electric cars. For some reason, it's okay to build a car that can knowingly kill people. Well, anyway, let's take a look at our grease cup. This is not a grease cup. This is an oil cup, but a lot of folks tend to call them grease cups. It is filled with solidified 1920s grease. It has its original wick. We will be replacing that. And all brass will be polished to a spit shine. That's the plan. One of the areas of concern with these motors is the gearbox. Now this one, he said it worked, and I believed him. I wasn't going to question that. He said it oscillates. He said it was oscillating rather slowly, which is no concern of mine. I don't think it's supposed to go very fast anyway. So let's take a look at what horrors lie within. Now this is stucker than a... I wasn't going to say a stuck pitch, but I lost my train of thought. All right, we don't want to just take the channel locks and go to town. We want to do something to protect. I should get some rubber. I wonder if they make like a rubber guard for these things. But anyway, I'm going to put a rag around this soft brass. And we're going to try. This is tightened too tight. There we go. Just want to loosen it up. Take a look inside the gearbox. Ooh, dry as a bone. Dry as a bone. Not cool. Not cool. Take a look. There is nothing in this. This is supposed to be filled with grease. Halfway or so, or 3/4 of the way up. By the way, in previous videos, I will admit I was wrong. These are only supposed to be filled 3/4 of the way maximum. But look at this. Look at that. Oh yeah. Smell that. It smells like Grandpa. Oh my. Okay, so this is not good, but I think it's savable. I mean, the gears aren't, oh, they're worn thin. Look at this. You can see how this worm gear is thin right where the meat and potatoes are. So this fan was run for a long time without any maintenance, but it still works. So that's what matters the most. Now, we can save it. All we gotta do is fill it with grease. But everything seems to be okay. There's no broken bits, there's no broken teeth. The teeth aren't so far gone that it doesn't have any. No, I think it'll be just fine. But look at that. That is not good. Yep, you can see that the years of like, these are almost, I could cut myself on these, on this worm gear. So what does that mean? Well, again, it's savable. We can save this. It's fine. It'll be okay. But just for future reference, when you buy one of these old fans, don't just plug it in and expect it to work. This is the kind of stuff that you want to deal with, like now, not later. All right. The other thing I wanted to look at is, can I remove the data plate without destroying the rivets 2.0? I want to remove the data plate and the brass rivets. Can I do it without destroying anything? Okay. The answer is maybe. I think I can punch them out. If I get a small enough punch, I should be able to punch them out from the back side and reuse them. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. In the coming videos, we're going to finish dismantling this fan. I'm going to try to remove the data plate without damaging anything. I'm going to try to oh yeah, this is easy. We can readjust. Look, see how there's play? That's an easy adjustment. You just loosen up this little screw here with a screwdriver. I had a small little flat blade in here. Let's see if it's small enough. Almost. No, that's not small. This one might do it. You gotta loosen this screw here. Now this is a jam screw. It's designed to keep that brass screw from backing out. And you just get a bigger screwdriver. Bigger, smaller. So, see about this one. Don't worry, buddy. What you do is you just tighten this up. Look at all the grease falling out of it. But we're going to take this out. carefully. It's soft brass, you don't want to go nuts. Oh, it's camming out. That's not good. It was already kind of damaged. I can fix that. Let's try this screwdriver. Yeah, that'll be a better fit. There we go. This thing already had a little bit of damage on it. So, what I'm going to do for this, I found that if you take it to a wire wheel, you can sometimes buff out a little bit of the damaged appearance out of it. And I did get this screw out, right? Oh yeah, that's not doing anything. So we're gonna just kind of push it out from the back end. We'll take this gear off the oscillator here. We can slide the shaft out. There we go. Almost there. Almost there. That out of there, put that in the parts bin. Get this gear out of here. This is a fiber gear. This is designed to be sacrificial. Oh wait, no, it's not. This is brass. Oh crap. Never mind. It's brass, but it's got a lot of wear. But there's not much we can do about that now, is there? Let's see if I can get this guy out of here. There we go. It's fully unscrewed. It's just stuck. Yeah, this is kind of in rough shape. I'm gonna see if I can find a better one, a better. Yeah, some of these gearbox parts are a little neglected. But I can clean this up. I've done this before with one of these. And when I'm done with it, it's not going to look all chowder to hell like this. I can do a good job with it, I'm sure. Oh, I just lost the bearing. There's a little ball bearing in there, and it just fell out. I forgot it was there. No, that wasn't the bearing. That was the washer, which goes on the end of this gear here. Can we pull this out without yanking the shaft out? I don't think so. I might have to pull the motor shaft out to get it out of there. Put that right there. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be a ball bearing in there, so I'm going to take another look on the floor and see if it's there. But you get the idea. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's nothing I can't handle. And like I said, we caught this sucker just in time. We can save all of these parts. But I am going to try to find a better brass plug. This one has a lot of chowdering on it. It was like that when I got it. I didn't help. But alternatively, you know, in hindsight, if I had sprayed some WD-40 in there, loosen it, that probably would have made it a little easier to get out. So this is it's all part of the learning experience, my friends. And since we're already here, what the hell? Let's just pull the motor. This is how easy it is, by the way. You just gotta loosen up this top screw here. It's got a lot of travel to it. Let's go like that. Oh, we should probably take the brass oscillator arm screw off. That might not be a bad idea. That is reverse threaded, by the way. I use a nice wide Phillips flat blade. I'm going to put it towards the edge of the table. And we're going to loosen this up. And I believe these are counter threaded. No, this one's not. Okay. Well, that's cool. The Vortelexes, they went to a counter-threaded or anti-clockwise, reverse-threaded design. So there's that. So now the motor is free. Support the motor. Lift and remove. And that's how you pull the motor out. There's a little fitting there for it to spin on. That another part spin. This all works nice. Another little thing about these loop handles, I don't know if all model years do this or it's just certain ones, but there's a set screw here. And you loosen this up. And you loosen up this thumb screw on the other side. Trying not to break it in the process. And this allows you to change the angle of the motor in relation to the switch to give you some nice mounting options for everything. So, but it's a solid fan, my friends. This is a solid fan. So far, nothing I've seen has really alarmed me. Everything looks to be pretty standard, pretty typical for a fan that is unrestored and used. This thing is used, really used. It'll be 100 years old in 2023. I mean, it's been around. So the use of brass in this thing is stunning, though. I mean, they use brass everywhere they could. And back then, that wasn't a big deal. That's just what you used. It wasn't like, you know, nowadays, oh my God. If you're using brass to make something as basic as a fan, what are you doing to yourself? That's how you tear a loop handle apart. In the next video, we're gonna probably start restoring. Probably gonna do some rust removal. I'm gonna be getting a couple bottles of Evapo Rust. We're gonna use Evapo Rust on the base and the motor mount. That'll remove rust without doing any damage to any other part of this fan. It'll easily remove the rust effortlessly. And I suggest you use it for projects like this. It works really, really well. It's a little pricey at $20 a gallon, and you're going to probably need about 2 gallons to do this, unless you have a container that's narrow and just the right size. But the motor, surprisingly, has no rust on it. In fact, it has most of its original paint intact, which is, well, maybe not. But anyway. Okay, that's going to conclude our video. Thank you very much for watching. And I've got some money to spend on all this technology. And we'll do that blade. We're going to polish that to a mirror shine. I cannot wait. Little before I end this video, I'm going to show you that. All right, so this blade has no lacquer left at all. These two blades still have some of their factory lacquer, and you can actually see what looks like the brush strokes, which is quite interesting. I believe these are painted with a brush, and it's really fascinating. The only reason these haven't tarnished completely is because there's still some lacquer left on them. Now on the back of the fan blade, you can see a lot of that lacquer is still there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use acetone to remove the remaining lacquer, and then we're going to buff them to a nice mirror polish. The blades don't appear to have any looseness to them. The rivets are good and tight. The hub isn't cracked or bent. Everything looks pretty good here. Nothing alarming. So I will leave us. I will leave you folks at this juncture. Have a great day.